This is the Ultimate Squad Builder, the one series I've been so excited to start. And I've waited until now because, as you can see, this is the all pre-season team. That means we are using a team of all the players that performed best in their respective positions during this pre-season. Now, as you'll see down here in the coaching and equipment, I am using the Lions uniform and will be playing if we're at home at the Lions Stadium, because here's a fun fact for you. When the Lions went 0-16 in 2008, they actually went 4-0 in the pre-season. And then for the coach, I just had to pick someone with some relevance, and I went for Jason Garrett, not because of him himself, but the Cowboys' defensive coordinator is Rod Marinelli, and Rod Marinelli was the head coach of the Lions in 2008. So let's build this team. And we'll start off nice and easy at quarterback. I don't think there's a surprise here. The quarterback is Dak Prescott. So Dak Prescott finished the preseason with a great quarterback rating, a great completion percentage. Someone who did better than him, Teddy Bridgewater, did better in rating and in completion percentage. But another interesting note, someone who did even better than both of those in completion percentage, Sam Bradford. Now, Dak Prescott led the league in the preseason with touchdowns thrown, but there is also a player that led in yards. And so our backup for this one is Matt Barkley. He led the league with 630 yards. That's 99 yards more than the next highest. He did, however, also throw 4 touchdowns compared to 3 interceptions. So not a great performance from him, but our starter is Dak Prescott. And our running back is Derrick Henry, another guy who got a Team of the Week for his preseason performance. Now, Derrick Henry wasn't actually the leading rusher in the league. Mac Brown of the Washington Redskins was, but Mac Brown is not in Madden Ultimate Team at this time, so I couldn't put him in. And let's just have a look at some of the ridiculous stats for Derrick Henry. 216 yards, a 6.4 yard per carry average. That is insane. 3 touchdowns on top of that and 15 first downs. And preseason doesn't tell you everything about how good a guy's going to be, but when you dominate like Derrick Henry did, you know he's going to do at least all right in the regular season. Now, Zach Zenner is obviously a halfback, but he had the most yards of anyone on the NFL website listed as a fullback, so I've just gone off that. It's really irrelevant anyway. The next highest was Glenn Gronkowski, who isn't in Madden, and that's really just why I went with Zach Zenner. On to the wide receivers now. And the wide receiver with the most yards that is on Madden was Aldrick Robinson. Now, Robbie Anderson of the New York Jets actually led the preseason, 13 receptions, 264 yards and 3 touchdowns, but Aldrick Robinson was number 2 and he's actually on Madden. Next up we have Rashad Ross, who was one of 3 players to lead the preseason with 3 touchdowns scored. However, he is the only one of those 3 to be in Madden. The other 2, again, Robbie Anderson and Tavares King of the New York Giants. And then we have number 3, Terrell Pryor. Now, he didn't necessarily lead in any categories, but half the guys that did well aren't even on Madden. And I thought Terrell Pryor deserves to be mentioned. A huge step up from last year and how good he is, and it'll be interesting to see how he develops throughout the season, so I've had him as my number 3. And now onto the harder one to define, the offensive line. And what I did for this, and I shudder at the thought of it, I went onto Pro Football Focus, who had the top performers of, I think, 2 weeks of the preseason. And the only starter that appeared on that list that I had to include because anybody else wasn't in the game was Eric Fisher. At left guard we play a right guard in Connor McGovern. And at center we have Austin Blythe of the Colts. And at right guard we have Cole Toner of the Arizona Cardinals. And at right tackle we have Charles Leno Jr. of the Bears, but I think I'm going to swap him and Fisher over. I don't actually know if that made it any better or just worse, but we'll go with it. And our tight end is the Buffalo Bills' Nick O'Leary. The best receiving tight end was actually AJ Derby of the New England Patriots with 189 yards, 15 receptions and a touchdown. But Nick O'Leary was the only one on Madden. Again, a lot of these guys not in the game either yet or at all. But that's our full starting offense, not the best looking thing. Let's move on to the defense. At middle linebacker we have Nick Dzubnar, who led the league in tackles in the preseason. At left outside linebacker we have Mark Hertzlich, who led all outside linebackers in tackles. And at right outside linebacker we have Julian Stanford, who was right behind him. For some reason I went off tackles for the free safety as well, and Stephen Terrell was the leader there. Well, he was actually right behind Rontez Miles, but I already had Terrell on the team. And Robert Blanton led strong safeties in tackles. Moving on to the cornerbacks, Vernon Hargreaves was one of a few players to lead the preseason in interceptions with 2. Nolan Carroll was another one of those, and so was Mackenzie Alexander. At right end we have Trey Flowers, another guy that got a Team of the Week card, and he had the most sacks out of players that were available for me to get on Madden. At left end we have Justin Trotto, who had 4.5 sacks, Trey Flowers had 2.5, and the actual leader, Marcus Rush of the San Francisco 49ers, who had 6 sacks in the preseason, wasn't available on Ultimate Team. For defensive tackles, I stayed on the theme of sacks, and John Jenkins had the most among available defensive tackles with 2, and Ethan Westbrooks had 2 as well. That's the team almost done except for the specialists. Brad Wing led the preseason in total yards as well as net yards, punting for 1,513 yards. And Roberto Aguayo converted the 3rd most field goals and wasn't as expensive as Graham Garneau. And I need him for next week. His bad stat, however, did hold him back, holding him down to 80% on the preseason. But he's in pretty good company there with Dan Carpenter and Steven Gostkowski. So that is the team. The total cost of this 66 overall team, made up of all the best performers in the preseason, was 32,900 coins. So maybe I wouldn't suggest you building this team yourself, but let's see how they do online against an opponent. I really don't know why, when I play online and head-to-head with these really bad teams, why Madden thinks it's funny to match me up with guys with like at least 6 elite players, and very good ones as well. Now, if these receivers don't catch anything they're supposed to, we might have to start leaning on Dak Prescott's running ability. But never mind, and Rashad Ross, big gain there. Wasn't going to get too excited about a 19-yard gain, but that's pretty nice. We do have a couple of decent players on this team, to be fair. It's not just bronze players or anything. We've got a couple of golds, and no golds doing anything there for us. It's Flowers against Tyron Smith, so the hope really... And does he get in? He should do, yes, he gets the touchdown there. Of course, we had it there. There was actually a middle linebacker on that play playing tight end for us because we don't have enough. And there's the interception. Do we stop him there? No, we don't. He gets the touchdown. Not a surprise. Good try, lads. There we go. We've got some running room now. Derrick Henry's got somewhere to go, but runs straight into someone, but gets a couple of yards. Derrick Henry hard running there. And we get there. Derrick Henry bouncing through people. Wow. Breaking a bunch of tackles. This is only the 67 rated Derrick Henry, but he's bouncing through people like they're not there. Oh, and a big hole there for him. Oh, and he gets almost through. Just a yard shy, I think. Yep, 1 yard shy. We're really not being creative with our play calls here. It's halfback dives until we get the first down. And then it's a halfback dive until we get the next first down. But Derrick Henry can carry the load. What a workhorse. And we've fooled him into doing exactly what we want him to. Oh, and Robinson takes a long way around there, loses himself about 4 yards. Derrick Henry there getting through again. He can't stop Derrick Henry. This is just his silver card. It's not even the Team of the Week one. And instead he throws an interception. Excellent work there, Dak Prescott. I know it was slightly a bad call. We had a short receiver. Oh my God. Can we get a witness for this? Don't even bother tackling, you idiots. Are you serious? Did anybody actually see that with real human eyes? Because I'm pretty sure I have lost my mind. Dak Prescott's... that's a good rated card. He's a 70. It's not exactly bad. How did he do that? That's the worst throw I've ever seen. Almost probably literally ever. I tell you what, I've got to start playing these games at different times because right now I only get matched up against people with full elite teams. Well, not full elite teams, but a whole bunch of elite players, a whole bunch of high rated players. It just doesn't make sense. So he had Tom Brady at quarterback, Marcel Reese, Le'Veon Bell as running backs, Greg Olsen, Julio Jones and AJ Green, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith. Ndamukong Suh, Stephen Gilmore, Sean Lee, Mario Williams, Josh Norman, and that was an upgraded Mario Williams, Darrell Reeves, Cameron Waite, Cameron Jordan, Rashad Jones, Kawan Shaw, Eric Berry, Brian Orakpo, Harrison Smith, Terrell Suggs, Navarro Bowman. Oh man, I am getting... matchmaking is not doing me any favours whatsoever. However, me giving poor Dak Prescott a 14.8 quarterback rating, I can't blame everything else there for that one. So let's get a verdict on the all preseason team. And, you know, I think I was overly optimistic about this team, considering that I play with an equally as bad one for Brandon Marshall's career draft, with actually less gold players on defense and less silver players. The defense really, I think the problem with the defense is that he had Tom Brady, Le'Veon Bell, Julio Jones, AJ Green, and Greg Olsen. That was probably the issue there, rather than the individual players here. You know, give these poor 70 rated cornerbacks a chance. Offense, they didn't do too badly. Derrick Henry actually played pretty well. We have a terrible offensive line and they let a whole bunch of sacks happen and a load of pressure, but Derrick Henry, when we ran the ball with Derrick Henry, he made good plays, and that's with the 67 rated card. The receivers we didn't really see anything from. Brad Wing we got some use out of. Basically, my final verdict is, who's really surprised when you consider the difference between the all preseason team and an all pro team? Next week, the team gets a lot more interesting, a bit better than, you know, just some random guys on the offensive line, and a bunch of guys who did well in the fourth quarter of preseason games. So if you're not already subscribed and you think you'd like to see actually interesting teams, subscribe, and if you are subscribed, you're in for a good one next week.